Hey folks, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage again. Brought you back. It's actually not that long after the last video. Spent a little bit of time on this, but anyways, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that could bring you back to a little bit more of the trunk lid fabrication for the 34 Terraplane coupe conversion project. One of the things I wanted to bring you in on is this inner structure that we're looking at using for the bottom section of the trunk lid. You can see I've got my handy dandy ironing board out here. We're not doing laundry, but we're using it. It's just a pretty handy little stand. So for now, this is what we're going to do. So my plan is to come in here. I'm going to make a template so that we can fabricate a piece that'll come on this whole corner here. I want to try and make a piece. Try my best to try and make it out of one piece. The template that I make, we will be able to then use on the other side, just a mirror image of it. So looking at this, because this one corner was pretty badly damaged and this one was not. That's pretty much stock, other than where I made the one slice in there with the cutoff wheel to bring that edge down. So I'm going to use that for my template and essentially, as I say, make two mirrored pieces. And then once I have those pieces, which will then repair any of this, there's a little bit of rust out on this corner here. This side's actually fairly solid, but we'll take it all down. So then, if you can tell, there's actually a bit of a line right here. So we'll be able to use that to line things up. And then it'll be one solid structure in there that'll line up. So your joint will end up right around there. So then I'll get that done on both sides. And then I'll make a pattern for this lower lip, which is essentially going to be a piece of angle, but I'll be using the shrinker on that to get that the arc, which is consistent with the bottom here, and then we can just weld it all together. It'll be nice and solid. We'll be able to align it properly, and then we can still make use of the rest of the structure so that I have good solid mounting for the latch that's there. I want to make sure that that's very solidly mounted, excuse me. But I can see there's some, maybe a little bit of finesse work I'm going to need to be doing on that as well. The latch needs a little bit of adjustment. May just be the panel right here gotten dented, and we'll align everything so that when I'm all done, that latch will work 100%. So let's get started on making a template for this. Now, some of you who have watched my videos before, if you recall, I have what I call my dirty finger technique. And, you know, other people have the same sort of thing. You get a bit of dirt on your hands and you can rub it across and it'll transfer onto the lines of the form that you're trying to make. Mine are not quite so dirty today for some strange reason. But the other thing that you can do, which I've used many times, is actually a carpenter's pencil. You can sharpen it so you got a fairly broad lead exposed, and then use that, and that'll trace. So you're basically going to ride it on the edge of the metal, and you'll see it'll follow it exact. So the only place that it won't be quite so exact, I guess, is wherever you've got some kind of a radius. Again, we'll make a bit of a template, and then we'll go from there and see what we have to do in order to make this all work. We may end up having to do this in a couple pieces, but let's see if I can get it where I don't have to do that. Okay, so we've got a first line there, and it's pretty close. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab a couple clips because I want to clip this so it doesn't really move on me. A little bit easier than trying to hold it and draw and that all at the same time. Hang on. Now, I've used these clips before. Again, they're just like dollar store clips, but they work super well. Now, I'm not going to need all this sheet on here, so I think I'm just going to trim that back a little bit. This is easier for making my pattern. Okay. So now, what's happening here, because we got a depth here, and it's going to be roughly an inch that goes around, and then area is slightly contoured. To have the pattern up on this edge and have it clamped on there, it's going to cause our pattern to crinkle, but the crinkles are, or whatever you want to call them, are kind of information to tell you what direction you need to take. So I'm just going to kind of hold it by hand. Now, I can see in here now, I'm going to have to make a bend in the bottom corner. And again, this is all going to be yeah, it's just going to take a lot of monkeying around. I may end up having to do this in two pieces, is what I kind of suspect anyways, which makes for more welding. But if there's a way for me to do it, I'll make the pattern. And if I can get it and not have to make it in two pieces, that would be so much better. The less welding, the better it is. Eh? So now you can see when I'm trying to get this in and get it down and find the corner, what's happening. I'm getting all sorts of bunching in here. Now there's a couple ways that we can manage that. Again, it's not a huge deal really at the end of it all. So what likely I will do is create a piece of angle. I'll take my shrinker stretcher and we'll move it to get that pattern exactly what we need to do it. And then the little broader area that I was looking at, you know what? If that has to be a separate piece, then so be it. I think that's likely what I'll end up doing, just because it'll be a lot less frustration than trying to make this thing conform properly. So you know what? It's a little extra welding. So be it. There's going to be more welding yet. So okay. Okay, anyways, you can see that I've got a basic outline of what I'm going to need, and I can measure it off. And again, I'll just make a angle, and we'll go from there. So it's essentially 1 3/4 inch piece, and lengthwise roughly 13 inches. So let's make up a chunk of angle, and then I'll have to shift some stuff around here, which I'll shift the camera and a bunch of other stuff so that we can get back to it. So I'll put you on hold just for a short bit, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody. We're back. I spent a little bit of time just picking up a couple pieces of angle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these pieces and we're going to run them through let's see, these are going to have to go, that's going to be the stretcher that we're going to be using on these ones to conform to that contour. So we'll get started on that, and we'll get you to follow along. Well, let's turn this thing so that you can actually see what's going on instead of looking at my backside, which is probably not what you want to be doing. Okay. Now you can see that very quickly it starts shaping up. So just take your time. You don't have to go fast. That's pretty much my way of doing things. It's not very fast because it's not necessary. And it's much better to sneak up on it and not go too far, you know. All right, let's just compare it. So we can see we've got a long ways to go there yet. So we'll carry on some more. Actually, what I'm going to do here, I can see that it actually goes from about here, which starts arcing a lot stronger, but then it flattens out, so I don't want to over flatten. So if we do that, I'm going to be to about there. So there's a one section right here that's going to need a lot more contour than the rest of it. So let's see what we can do. Another little tip for you on the shrinker stretcher is, I hope you're getting this. Let's maybe just double check here. Okay, we're good. All right. So what I usually like to do is go in on the piece full depth on the jaws, work it, and then if you find that it's still a little bit too tight of a corner and you need to still get more radius out of it, what you can do is actually go in about halfway or half jaw on there and do the stretch or the shrink, whichever you're working on, and it'll really move that metal around quite a bit. But for the moment, I'm just going to we're just going to do the full jaw depth. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay. So now we're going to have to go to half depth because it is actually getting to a point where you can only go so far full jaw depth before it'll kind of max out on what it can do. And when you're going only half depth, go easy because it moves it fairly quick. And one of the things you want to be mindful of is if you go at it too aggressively when it's a half depth, you can actually tear the metal apart. Okay, so that one spot there. Now you notice I went to the shrinker side of the shrinker stretcher machine. Sometimes it takes very little to get it to go too far. Then the way to bring it back is if you're stretching, then you go to the opposite side on the shrinker, and then the shrinker will help you bring it back. So it's pretty handy that way. Okay, I want to give this a little bit more here. Again, it'll be a light one. Now the other thing on this, you may get away with just doing the shrinker stretching on one plane. Because of this piece, the way it's configured, I will have to adjust on two planes. So I did this one side already here. That gives me the one plane. Now what will happen is if I go on this other side, I'll be very careful because it's not a lot, but I just want that thing to be able to sit down really nice, and it'll be very little, very, very little. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the time right now and going to pause the video again, and I want to cut that this inner lip off here, just so I can get that thing seating down properly. I'm going to have to replace it regardless, so we may as well just cut it out of there, and then I can match things up. So you hang on for a moment there, and we'll put you on hold, and we'll be back. All right, folks, I'm back here. As you notice, I got my leather apron back on again. I didn't have it on. I got one little hot spark, and I guess my belly's a good target. All right, so if I put that on there now, we'll take a look at it and see if there's anything that needs to be adjusted. Very, very, very little. So make a couple marks where I figure it needs a little bit. Boy, that's really very little. Okay, so now in order to get that contour right, this one we're going to have to shrink a little bit. So again, it's just a light shot there. Where I made the mark, I'll just, excuse me, center it on the jaws here. And that should put me pretty close. That is that's pretty much right on the money. All right, let's get some vice grips and we'll clamp that on there. I want to be able to mark the approximate length that I'm going to need to follow the contour here. Okay, let's take a look. Now, as you can see, this piece, it's longer than what we need, which is fine. And this, the original piece here, has got a radius on this outside edge. So what I'm thinking to do is actually take a crescent wrench and just slowly start tweaking it over so that essentially you'll be getting a kind of a Z-shaped piece on here that'll conform. And then once I have that bent to where I need it, then I can make this flatter piece up and we can just tie into there, cut this. This piece here is actually much longer than what we really need, but you know, the longer a piece that you can put in there, the straighter it'll stay. So let's see what we can do with making this thing bend the way I want it to go. I'll have to grab my crescent wrench that I threw on the floor mistakenly. It's a long ways down when you're 6'2". Okay, let's get some gloves on here because those edges are kind of sharp. I just realized move this somewhere where we can actually hear. Maybe there. All right. Now I'm still going to have to massage this with hammer and dolly and whatever, but we'll get her going in the right direction at least for starts. All right. I'm going to have to reposition again. What I need to do now is use one of my T-dollies, and I'll put that in the vise just so it's easier to hold on to, and it'll help me shape that radius that I need on there. Now I'm going to try and do this in such a way that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's hope this works out so you can see. All right, so in order to get this thing to line up again, when you're bending something over like that, it tends to twist the whole piece. So now what I got to do is I got to go in along here and shrink as I can to try and draw in that edge, because you're trying to gather all that material and shy of cutting it and welding and all that kind of stuff. Let's do it with a shrinker. So one of the other things that you can do with the shrinker stretcher is actually use it kind of as a clamp as you press down on it and you hold it, and then you can tweak the piece that you need to. Now this thing has actually started to kind of move in a very different way than what I needed, so I'm going to have to bring that back now. Well, I apologize for the moving around, but I need to use the various pieces here to get what I need done. Unfortunately, I guess I'm just going to have to move the camera a little bit from time to time just so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. So what I did on that, when I was trying to do the round over on here, on this side, I went too far. And it actually started pulling this flange out. So I was starting to get it. You can see I'm starting to get a bit of an arc here where it actually needs to be a lot less than that for sure. So I'm just going to bring that back. We'll line it all up, and then what I may end up having to do is actually, occasionally you have to do this, is I may end up having to cut in a little bit with the cutting wheel, move it to where it needs to go, weld it into place. Anyways, let's bring this thing back. Okay, so I am going to have to put a couple cuts. It's going to be extremely hard to get this thing to mate in because it's so convoluted. You got well, not only two planes, like on the lower or the bigger flange, you've got two planes that you're trying to accommodate. Your right angle section is another plane, and it's on two planes. And then the radius, which is going over, it's also on two planes. So you're trying to make all this stuff work, and sometimes your hand is forced to resort to whatever is necessary to get the job done, right? So going to do a little bit more hammer and dolly work on this. I'll be back to the T dolly, and just going to keep working away at it, and we'll see what we can get done with it. My last resort will be cutting and then adjusting it, but I suspect that's going to end up happening anyways, regardless. It's just, yeah, it's a very convoluted piece, but I do want it to fit almost perfect. Just makes it Then when this whole thing is, the older piece is cut out, you put a new piece in, everything's going to line up properly. So just going to take time and patience. And I guess I better move you over towards the T-dolly so you can watch that too. Now, one thing wanted to bring to your attention, and on my video where I was showing some of my equipment, I may have mentioned this, but I don't recall if I did or not. Anyways, these T-dollies are actually made. I made them here. And again, it's just scrap stuff. I had some nice stainless for the top of the T-dolly, and this is just flat stock. One of the things that I did is I actually radius the end of this. Kind of hard to tell with a big fat finger, right? Anyways, that's radiused, and it's radiused all the way around as well. Because what you'll find is a lot of times that's exactly what you need, is to be able to just get around that, not just this straight edge. Pretty handy. They're super easy to make, and again, it was just some scrap steel that I used. So okay. Anyways, we actually got pretty good. A little bit more work to do. There's going to be 2 cuts in this thing, 3 cuts. And that's it. And there's just going to be a light cut just so that it relieves the stress on that corner. And then the whole thing can go down to conform. Once that's done, I can just tack those spots once they're in position. And we're good to go. So give me a second and I'll give those just a quick little nip. Okay. Well, there you go. It's actually conformed quite nicely. Now, of course, once I start cutting out the old stuff and putting this new piece in, I'm going to have to fit it to the opening on the trunk and make sure that everything lines up really, really good. Now I still got to make this piece here because there's some rust out on there. So we'll make up that piece. This has got a radius on here. It's a larger radius, so I'll use one of my other larger T-dollies there to help conform that. Actually, I might be able to do that just on the pipe anvil. So anyways, again, another tool that if you've watched me before, you know that I have these different pieces of equipment to use. Anyways, overall, I think that turned out pretty darn nice. There's, like I say, a slight little bit of adjustment here and there, but we'll get it. I'll probably tighten up that inside corner on here, and I can just do that basically with my the hammer I was just using here, the cross chisel, and just tap it down. Just because as it comes out of the brake, sometimes it's got a little bit more of a radius than what I want for there. So we can clean that up and adjust that. But I think that this video is probably starting to get a little bit longer. So yeah, like I'll work away at making another piece for the other side, and I'll work on getting this piece together. So what I'll do is, for now, I think we'll stop the video, and we'll come back, and we'll show you a little bit more as we're going along. Anyways, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that could, saying thanks for coming along, and hopefully you're getting some value out of this, whether it's entertainment or learning a few little tips and tricks along the way. Or if you're just enjoying watching me struggle a little bit, that's okay too. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming along on this journey. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye for now.